My name's Evan, 34 years old, living just outside Boise, Idaho, in a small house with a sagging front porch and a backyard that's more dirt than grass. It's 1995, and I've been running my own auto repair shop for about 8 years now. It's a one-man operation most days, though I've got a part-time kid, Joey, who sweeps up and answers the phone when he's not in school. I fix cars, trucks, the occasional tractor, whatever rolls into the gravel lot off Highway 55. I'm not rich, but I'm steady. I've got a reputation around here for being fair, which means I don't starve, and I don't work weekends unless I feel like it. That I was married once, to Laura. We were high school sweethearts, got hitched at 22, had a daughter, Sophie, who's 6 now. Laura and I split 4 years back. It wasn't messy, no screaming matches or lawyers. We just stopped fitting together, like a bolt stripped of its threads. She's got a new guy now, lives across town, and I see Sophie every other weekend. Those days with her, they're what keep me going. Otherwise, it's just me, the shop, and a quiet house. I don't mind the quiet most days, but sometimes, when the TV's off and the crickets start up, I feel the weight of it. Not lonely, exactly, just aware of what's missing. That it was a Thursday in late April, air still cool enough for a jacket, when I got a call at the shop. I was under a '92 Ford pickup, wrestling with a rusted exhaust clamp, when Joey yelled, "Evan, phone." I slid out, wiped my hands on a rag, and picked up the receiver. A woman's voice came through, clear but a little hesitant. "Hi, is this Evan's auto? My car's making a weird noise. It's, a '91 Honda Civic. Can you take a look?" She sounded polite, maybe a little tired. I told her to bring it by tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. She thanked me, said her name was Clara, and hung up. That I didn't think much of it. Just another job, another day. Chapter 2, the first meeting. Friday morning, I was at the shop early, sipping coffee from a chipped mug, flipping through a parts catalog. The Civic pulled in right on time, crunching gravel under its tires. It was red, faded from years in the sun, with a dented fender and a cracked taillight. A woman stepped out, mid-20s, I'd guess, with short blonde hair tucked behind her ears, wearing a flannel shirt over a white tee and jeans. She had a practical look, like someone who didn't fuss over appearances but still cared enough to look put together. "You must be Clara," I said, setting the mug down. "That's me," she replied, offering a small smile. "Thanks for squeezing me in." She described the noise, a grinding sound when she braked, sometimes a squeal. I nodded, already suspecting worn brake pads or maybe a rotor issue. "Mind if I take it for a quick spin to hear it?" I asked. She handed me the keys, and I drove it around the block. Sure enough, the brakes groaned like a tired dog. Back at the shop, I popped the hood and checked the calipers while she stood nearby, arms crossed, watching. "Brake pads are shot," I told her. "Rotors might need resurfacing, but I'll know more once I get the wheels off." "You want me to do it now?" She nodded. "How long will it take?" "Couple hours, tops. You can wait here if you want, or I can call you when it's done." "I'll wait," she said, glancing at the folding chair by the shop's window. "Got nowhere else to be. Most customers don't stick around. They drop the car and come back later." But Clara sat there, flipping through an old car and driver magazine, occasionally looking up as I worked. I didn't mind. She wasn't pushy, didn't ask a million questions, just seemed comfortable in the quiet. I noticed her boots, worn but clean, like she took care of what she had. Chapter 3, the conversation. I was torquing down the new brake pads when Clara spoke up. "How'd you get into this?" "Fixing cars, I mean." I glanced over, surprised she was starting a conversation. "Grew up around it. My dad had a garage, nothing fancy, just him and a couple buddies. I'd hang out after school, hand him tools, get grease all over me. Eventually, I learned enough to do it myself." She smiled, setting the magazine down. "Sounds like a good way to grow up." It was all right. "What about you? What do you do? She hesitated, like she was choosing her words. I'm a librarian. Well, assistant librarian, at the public library downtown. Been there a couple years. Librarian, huh? You must read a lot. More than most, I guess. I like helping people find what they need, books, answers, whatever. We talked as I worked. She asked about the tools, how I knew what was wrong with a car just by listening. I told her about the '67 Mustang I restored in my 20s, how it took 2 years and every spare dollar I had. She laughed when I admitted I sold it to pay for my wedding. Worth it? She asked. At the time, yeah. Now? Not so sure. She didn't pry, but I could tell she caught the weight in my voice. When I finished, I wiped my hands and handed her the keys. Good as new. Shouldn't give you any trouble now. Thanks, Evan, she said, her eyes meeting mine for a second longer than I expected. What do I owe you? I quoted her $120, parts and labor. She paid in cash, counting out the bills carefully, like she was making sure she didn't mess up. As she drove off, I realized I was still thinking about her smile. Chapter 4, the spark. The next week was standard: oil changes, a busted alternator, a guy who swore his truck was haunted because the radio kept cutting out. But Clara stuck in my mind. It wasn't just her face, though she was pretty in an unassuming way. It was how she listened, how she seemed comfortable in her own skin without trying too hard. I didn't have her number, and I wasn't about to look her up in the shop's records. That felt like crossing a line. Then, on Wednesday, she called again. Evan, it's Clara. The Civic's acting up again. It's pulling to the right when I drive. Can you check it out? Sure thing. Bring it by tomorrow, same time. Perfect. See you then. When she showed up, I noticed she'd tied her hair back with a blue scarf. It looked nice, but I didn't say anything. I drove the car, felt the pull, and diagnosed a misaligned front end, probably from hitting a pothole. Needs an alignment, I told her. I can do it now if you've got time. She stayed again, this time bringing a book from the library. As I worked, she read quietly, but every now and then, she'd ask something: how I learned to align wheels, if I ever wanted to do anything else. I told her I'd thought about opening a bigger shop, maybe hiring a couple guys, but I liked keeping things small. Less to worry about, I said. Makes sense, she replied. I like things small too. Big plans, big dreams, they sound nice, but they can weigh you down. That stuck with me. When I finished, I walked over to where she was sitting. All set. Should drive straight now. She closed her book. You're good at this, Evan. Not just the cars, but making it feel easy. I shrugged, feeling a little heat in my face. Just doing my job. Maybe, she said, standing. But you're good at it. As she left, I realized I didn't want it to be the last time I saw her. Chapter 5, The Leap. By Friday, I was restless. Sophie was with Laura for the weekend, and the shop was slow. I kept thinking about Clara, her scarf, her quiet laugh, the way she didn't fill silences with pointless chatter. I wasn't a guy who made big moves, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I needed to do something. That I found the library's number in the phone book and called. A gruff older woman answered, but when I asked for Clara, she put her on. Evan. Everything okay with the car? Yeah, it's not that. I was wondering if you'd like to grab a coffee tomorrow. There's a place on State Street, nothing fancy. No pressure. A pause. Then, I'd like that. What time? Say, 10 a.m. Sounds good. See you there. Saturday morning, I got to the coffee shop early. It was a small place, wooden tables, a jukebox in the corner playing Johnny Cash. Clara walked in right on time, wearing a sweater and jeans, her scarf from yesterday swapped for a silver necklace. She smiled when she saw me, and my nerves settled that we ordered coffee and sat by the window. I wasn't sure you'd call, she said after a sip. Wasn't sure I would either, I admitted. But you're easy to talk to. She looked down at her cup, a faint smile. You too. We talked about small things, her favorite books, my worst car repair stories. Then she opened up a bit. I moved here 2 years ago, after my divorce. Wanted a fresh start. Boise seemed quiet, safe. Divorce, huh? I get that. I told her about Laura, how we drifted apart, how Sophie was the best part of it all. She listened, really listened, her eyes steady on mine. I was married 3 years, she said. He was controlling. Not mean, just wanted me to be someone I wasn't. I stayed too long, thinking I could change him. That's hard, I said. Takes guts to walk away. Took longer than it should have, she replied, her voice soft but steady. That we stayed until the coffee shop started filling up. As we walked out, I said, this was nice, Clara. It was, she agreed. Let's do it again sometime. Chapter 6, The Connection. Over the next few weeks, we saw each other more. Coffee turned into lunches at a diner near the library. She'd tell me about quirky library patrons, I'd share stories about customers who thought they knew more about cars than I did. We laughed a lot, but it was the quiet moments that hit me hardest, like when she'd pause, look at me, and say something simple like, I'm glad we're doing this. One evening, after closing the shop, I drove to the library to pick her up. She'd mentioned working late to shelve books. When I got there, she was locking up a stack of novels under her arm. Need a ride? I asked. She smiled. Sure. In my truck, she asked, you ever think about what you'd do if you weren't fixing cars? I thought about it. Maybe teach. Not in a classroom, but, like, show kids how to work with their hands. My dad did that for me. That's nice, she said. You'd be good at it. When I dropped her off at her apartment, she leaned over and hugged me, not long, just enough to feel real. Thanks, Evan, she said. For what? For being you. That night, I lay awake, thinking about how easy it was to be around her. It wasn't fireworks or movie romance. It was better, steady, like a car that's been tuned just right. Chapter 7, The Risk. By June, things felt different. I was falling for her, and I was pretty sure she felt the same. But I was cautious. Sophie was my priority, and I didn't want to bring someone into her life unless it was real. Clara understood. She hadn't met Sophie yet, but she asked about her often, always gentle, never pushing. One Saturday, I had Sophie for the weekend. We were at the park, her swinging on the monkey bars, when I saw Clara walking her dog, a scruffy mutt named Rusty. She waved, hesitated, then walked over. Didn't expect to see you here, she said, smiling at Sophie. This is Sophie, I said. Sophie, this is my friend Clara. Sophie squinted up at her. Do you like dogs? Clara knelt down. Love, M. This is Rusty. You can pet him if you want. Sophie grinned, scratching Rusty's ears. Clara didn't overdo it, just let Sophie lead. I watched, feeling something settle in me. This could work. That night, after Sophie was asleep, I called Clara. You were great with her today. She's sweet, Clara said. Reminds me of you, curious, a little stubborn. I laughed. Listen, I was thinking, maybe you could come over next weekend. Just the 3 of us. Nothing big. I'd like that, she said, and I could hear the smile in her voice. Chapter 8, The Turning Point. The next weekend, Clara came over. I'd made spaghetti, nothing fancy, but Sophie loved it. Clara brought a board game, Clue, and we played after dinner. Sophie giggled when Clara accused Miss Scarlett of stealing her turn. Watching them together, I felt something I hadn't in years, a sense of family. After Sophie went to bed, Clara and I sat on the porch with iced tea. She's amazing, Evan, Clara said. You're doing a good job. I try, I said. But I worry I'm not enough sometimes. She reached for my hand. You're enough. Then she told me more about her past. Her ex-husband had wanted her to quit her job, stay home, be someone she wasn't. I lost myself for a while, she said. Moving here, starting over, it's been about finding me again. I squeezed her hand. You're doing pretty good at it. She looked at me, her eyes soft. You make it easier. We kissed then, not rushed, just quiet and right. It wasn't a grand moment, but it was ours. Chapter 9, The Commitment. By fall, Clara was part of our lives. She'd come to Sophie's school plays, help her with homework, even taught her how to braid Rusty's fur into little knots. Laura noticed, asked if it was serious. I told her it was. She nodded, said, Sophie talks about her a lot. Just, be careful. I was. But I was also sure. In October, I took Clara to McCall, a small town by Payette Lake, for a weekend. We rented a cabin, walked by the water, talked about the future. I want this, I told her one night, sitting by a fire. You, me, Sophie. Maybe more someday. She leaned against me. I want that too. But I'm scared. I don't want to mess it up. We'll figure it out together, I said. When we got back, I introduced Clara to Laura as my girlfriend. Laura was polite, even warm. Sophie started calling Clara, Clary, and it stuck. Chapter 10, The New Beginning. A year later, in 1996, Clara moved in with me. We fixed up the house, painted the porch, planted a small garden. Sophie helped, getting dirt all over her overalls. Clara got a promotion at the library, and I hired another mechanic to take some pressure off. Life wasn't perfect. Sophie had tantrums, Clara and I argued sometimes, but it was real. One evening, as we sat on the porch, Sophie asleep inside, Clara said, I never thought I'd have this. A home, a family. I pulled her close. Me neither. But I'm glad we do. Now, as I write this, it's 1998. Clara and I got married last spring, a small ceremony at the park where we first ran into each other. Sophie was our flower girl, tossing petals with a grin. We're expecting a baby in a few months, a boy, we think. The shop's doing well, Clara's running the library's children's program, and Sophie's learning to ride a bike. It started with a brake job, a simple $120 fix. I went to work that day expecting nothing, just another car, another customer. But I left with something bigger, a life I hadn't dared hope for. Clara and I didn't fall in love like in the movies. We built it, piece by piece, moment by moment, until it was something solid, something true. And sitting here now, watching Clara read to Sophie in the living room, I know that sometimes, the smallest jobs lead to the biggest changes. Conclusion, the life we built. It's 2001 now, 3 years since I last put my thoughts down, and I'm sitting on the same sagging porch outside our house in Boise, Idaho. The paint we slapped on in '96 is peeling again, flaking off in curls that catch the evening breeze. Sophie's 9, all legs and questions, riding her bike in circles on the street while Clara watches from the front yard, our son, Nathan, toddling after her with a plastic shovel in his hand. He's 2, born in the spring of '99, with Clara's blonde hair and my stubborn streak. The backyard's got grass now, patchy but green, thanks to Clara's patience and a sprinkler we rigged up last summer. Life's fuller than I ever thought it could be, but it's not perfect. Nothing ever is. Still, sitting here, watching the sun dip behind the cottonwoods, I feel something close to whole. The shop's still running, same gravel lot off Highway 55, though I've got 2 mechanics now. Joey's still around, no longer a kid, handling oil changes and tire rotations like he was born with a wrench in his hand. I don't work as many hours anymore. Clara's taken over the children's program at the library, turning it into something the whole town talks about. Story hours, book clubs, even a summer reading camp that Sophie begs to help with. She's good at it, Clara, making people feel seen, like they matter. It's what drew me to her that first day, when she sat in the shop, flipping through a magazine, not rushing me, just waiting. Sophie's growing up fast. She's got Laura's eyes and my knack for taking things apart, though she's better at putting them back together. She spends every other weekend with Laura and her husband, Tom, who's decent enough, treats her like his own. Laura and I get along better now, mostly because of Clara. She's got a way of smoothing edges, keeping things steady. When Sophie's with us, she follows Clara around, asking about books, dogs, or why the sky looks pink at dusk. Clara answers every question, patient, like she's got all the time in the world. Nathan's different, wilder, always moving, but he calms down when Clara reads to him, his head against her shoulder, eyes heavy. I think about that first break job sometimes, the $120 fix that brought Clara into my life. It's funny how the smallest things can shift everything. I didn't know it then, but that day was the start of something bigger than I could have imagined. We didn't fall in love like in the movies, all grand gestures and sweeping music. It was slower, quieter, built on conversations in the shop, coffee at the diner, moments that added up until they were undeniable. I look at Clara now, laughing as Nathan tries to catch a grasshopper, and I know I'd do it all again, every step, every doubt, just to get here. The everyday moments the years since we got married haven't been without their challenges. Sophie had a rough patch in '99, right after Nathan was born. She was 7, old enough to feel the shift in our house, the way a new baby changes things. She'd get quiet, sulky, slamming her bedroom door when Clara tried to talk to her. I worried we'd rush things, bringing Clara into her life too fast. But Clara didn't push. She'd leave little notes on Sophie's pillow, silly things, like, "Rusty says he misses you," or a doodle of a dog with a lopsided grin. Eventually, Sophie came around, started asking Clara to braid her hair again, even called her "Mom" once by accident. She blushed, corrected herself, but Clara just smiled, said, "Clary's fine, kiddo." Nathan's birth was hard on Clara. She was in labor for 18 hours, and there were complications, a scare with his heart rate that left us both gripping each other's hands in the hospital room, silent, scared. He pulled through, healthy and loud, but Clara was tired for months after, her usual spark dimmed. I'd find her in the kitchen at 3 a.m., staring at a cup of tea gone cold, worrying she wasn't doing enough for Sophie, for Nathan, for me. I'd sit with her, not saying much, just there. That's what she did for me, back when we were just starting, listened, stayed. So I did the same. Slowly, she came back to herself, her laugh filling the house again. The shop hit a rough spot last year. A chain auto place opened up across town, undercutting my prices, pulling customers who didn't care about my reputation for being fair. I lost sleep over it, wondering if I'd have to let Joey go, maybe close up. Clara saw it weighing on me. One night, she brought me a stack of flyers she'd made at the library, simple, just Evans Auto, honest work, fair prices, with the shop's number. She and Sophie handed them out at the farmer's market, the library, even stuck them under windshield wipers in parking lots. Business picked up, not a lot, but enough. Joey's still there, and I'm still turning wrenches. We've had arguments, Clara and I. Nothing big, but real, dishes left in the sink, me working late when I promised to be home, her forgetting to tell me about a school event for Sophie. We're not perfect. But we talk it out, usually on the porch, iced tea or coffee between us, the crickets filling the silences. She's better at saying sorry, but I'm learning. What matters is we keep going, keep building, keep choosing each other.